Good afternoon. I will be analyzing Glennon Doyle, who's been struggling with bulimia from the age of 8. She later drank and did drugs to hide her feelings of self-worth until the age of 25. Gwendolyn's learning how to cope with her feelings of unworthiness and not fitting in a world that appears to be very scary and negative.
How do you explain Glennon Doyle's addiction from a theoretical perspective?
From a theoretical perspective, Gwendolyn is having negative thoughts and feelings about how she looks. She cannot handle those feelings, so she uses bulimia and later alcohol and drugs to escape from those feelings. Gwendolyn is very anxious and depressed from the outside world and does not like crowds and other people. Gwendolyn hates that people are happy all the time and acting like they are fine. This, she feels, is so fake. She feels more comfortable in her house than out in mainstream society. She feels very overweight, ugly, and oily, and is trying to become a carbon copy of her peers at the age of 8 until the age of 18. Even in college, Gwendolyn does not really fit in. The only place Gwendolyn ever fit was in the mental hospital because there people were not pretending to be something that society expects them to be.
What theoretical understandings of addiction are more useful for understanding Gwendolyn's situation?
The theoretical understandings of social learning theory, achievement anxiety theory, and cognitive theory would be most useful to helping Gwendolyn understand her situation. When looking at the social learning theory, Gwendolyn seems to have let outside influences decide who she should be instead of being true to herself. Because of this, Gwendolyn felt that she did not fit into the image of what other girls in society looked like, and thus became bulimic. School restricted her, and Gwendolyn molded herself into being the ultimate teen and college student, instead of being true to herself. Even later in life, Gwendolyn, instead of trusting her own instincts, followed the crowd and wore a scarf because she figured that all great mothers wore scarves. She is always trying to conform to other standards and not her own. She is afraid to let her own voice and ideas be heard, and instead is always trying to look and be like her peers. The next theory to explain her addictive behavior is the achievement anxiety theory. This theory maintains that drug abuse is a response to a fear of failure, fear of not looking a certain way, and not being able to live up to society's expectations. Instead of facing her anxiety, she uses addictive behaviors like constantly throwing up, drinking excessively, and doing drugs to numb her anxiety and pain. Gwendolyn's addictions help her to withdraw from a set of standards that the U.S. culture defines as being important in order to be accepted in society. For example, in the United States, it is important for all girls to look incredible, be smart, smile all the time, and be a certain weight. In this anxiety model, Gwendolyn escapes the structure of society by taking part in escapist binging, purging, drinking, and doing drugs. A final theory that would help Gwendolyn's situation is the cognitive theory. This theory involves helping people to identify unhealthy behaviors. Then they look at their beliefs and are given an opportunity to test their beliefs in the real world, outside the therapist's office. Using this theory, Gwendolyn would evaluate the accuracy of her beliefs, and then Gwendolyn would update her beliefs based on what is really happening in the outside world.
Which theoretical understandings of addiction are least useful for understanding Gwendolyn's situation?
The theories that I feel would be least useful is the disease model of addiction and the moral theory of addiction. Gwendolyn's addiction does not appear to be caused by genetics. In fact, there does not seem to be any addiction in her family. Everyone else in the family appears to be very happy and free from addictions. The disease model of addiction also states that addiction is not a choice, but is something that we have to live with forever. However, Gwendolyn chose to stop bulimia, drinking, and drugs one day and never looked back, and has been clean for 25 years. Once Gwendolyn decided that having a baby was more important to her, she chose to give up her addictions. Gwendolyn stopped listening to society's restrictions and decided to follow her own destiny. The moral theory is also not very useful because this theory states that people who are addicts are lazy. Gwendolyn is far from lazy. She is a very successful author and very empowering to other women. She speaks all over the world and tells people to empower themselves and make the choices to overcome their addictions.
How would you manage your case?
I would have Gwendolyn focusing on the present and help Gwendolyn develop some skills necessary to help empower herself. Some of these skills would include problem solving and decision making. I would also teach Gwendolyn some cognitive skills to help her be able to resist society's influences. One of the cognitive restructuring skills I would teach Gwendolyn is thought challenging, where you challenge your negative thoughts and feelings and replace them with more positive thoughts and feelings. By doing this, Gwendolyn would not hide it again and return to addictive behaviors if life became too hard or too brutal. I also believe that Gwendolyn needs some exposure therapy so she can face the negative situations that she finds uncomfortable and learn how to desensitize in a systematic way. This systematic desensitization will help allow Gwendolyn to challenge her fears and build her confidence. I would also use skills to teach Gwendolyn how to reduce stress and anxiety through the use of cognitive coping skills or behavioral relaxation techniques. I would also encourage her to develop creative sources such as drawing or writing to help her release her creative energies so she does not feel stuck in life. It is important that she trust her intuition and her inner voice in order to stay in tune with her emotions. Gwendolyn needs to embrace all her emotions and not hide from them.
Would outside referrals be considered?
I would refer her for mindfulness therapy and yoga techniques so that she could learn to control her feelings and not always try to escape from them. I would also refer Gwendolyn to a modern form of meditation called sophrology. This type of meditation would help Gwendolyn transform her tensions into positivity and calm. This meditation would require her to just let go, be still, and live in the moment.